What is going on, friends and allies? We are back for another Giga-Bites game night. We are in the home stretch for the Slow Grow League, where players are battling it out at 800 points to see how many raffle tickets they will end the league with. I had the pleasure of going up against Kyle's Hero Hammer team, comprised of the Fellowship, allied with Rivendell, against my pure Isengard Uruk-hai spam in a game of domination. After deciding to use the Atlanta MESBG community dice as our objective markers, we were off to deployment. We thought that it would be fun to have a mixed board of new farmland terrain that I'd acquired, blended with the original Helm's Deep wall and gate set. Fortunately for Kyle, the deployment went in his favor and he was able to set up behind his walled defense with Frodo, Gandalf, and Legolas, while the rest of his heavy-hitting army went straight into the fray. In the first movement phase, I started off as poorly as you can imagine by having a scout fail a jump test off of a bale of hay and breaking his neck on the way down. After that, the lines began to clash. The Uruk-hai charged into the castle while finding a convenient gap in the back for entry, and the fight raged on in the front. No matter how many units I sent into Gimli, Elrond, and Glorfindel, I couldn't make any headway against them. With the terror that both of the elves caused, in addition to their Lord of the West rerolls, my hands were tied in trying to beat their high rolls. While Legolas was making some key sniper shots on Kyle's side of the board, I had a shooting feature of my own to exploit. This was my first game using a ballista, and it performed exceedingly well as it took off many fate points from the elven heroes until eventually being beaten down by Gimli, but not before it killed Elrond. The initially casual turned sweaty game ended in a draw after failed courage tests took place to remove my Uruk-hai from key placements. In the end, the only positive of that castle was that it was so big, Kyle didn't notice some of my Uruk-hai pressed right up against it who were able to contest objectives. After tallying up the scores, we jumped into the post-game recap.
So that was absolutely crazy.
Insane.
That was crazy.
Yeah,
So,
played with 6 models total.
and it was a tie. 6 against 42.
Yep.
I will say your fighting, when we had that giant cluster there, really ended up working out.
Gimli won probably his last 5 fights in a row, which had to happen. Otherwise, he was going to die. I mean, and he would have probably moved his other troops over to another point like 2 turns earlier.
Yep.
So that was huge. Legolas missed, I think, every single shot. Like after he used all of his might.
Yeah.
After that, he was shooting 3 times, I think 3 rounds in a row, and each time out of all 3, he hit once in each round.
It was crazy.
So out of 9 shots, he hit 3.
Legolas consistently
He literally hit 3, yeah.
The ballista killed Elrond.
The ballista killed Elrond, which, I didn't realize that if it does 1 wound, it kills.
Yeah.
So Elrond had no fate, and he had 3 wounds, but he just went straight through all 3.
Yeah.
That was really the game right there.
I just lost too many dudes, and I didn't have enough guys at the end.
Glorfindel did well. He took out the troll pretty early, which was huge. He also took out Lurtz. I think it was him. Him or Elrond took out Lurtz.
Elrond did, yeah.
I still think probably MVP for me was Gimli, just because he didn't lose a single fight after like round 1.
Yeah.
It was insane.
Yeah.
So,
well, he did not kill the siege leader.
He didn't kill the siege
crazy.
leader,
That
but
was
he
a
actually
huge one.
killed a lot of guys.
He killed a ton of dudes. I mean, point for point, Gimli did a great job.
Yeah.
I think maybe I give it to the ballista.
Yeah, your ballista.
Ballista did work.
So he hit on the ballista.
Oh, berserkers.
Definitely more. Yeah, the berserkers. He saved 1 on the berserker at the end of the game, which was huge.
Yeah, that
would have given me the win.
Yeah.
So he literally won on that.
Yep.
His ballista hit probably 4 or 5 times.
I rolled
the
like
game.
4 6s in a row.
Yeah, he rolled 4 6s.
I think that was what killed Elrond.
It was like 3 or 4 that's
6s
what killed
into 5.
Elrond. So it's a dice game, but it was close.
Yeah,
it was a lot of fun.
It was crazy.
Thanks for playing.
Great game.
Awesome.
Such a good time.
Following that surprisingly intense and strategic game, I got to play Collin in an Isengard versus Minas Tirith matchup game of Reconnoiter. Collin had a great plan of moving his cavalry led by Faramir along my left flank where my ballista was, while I charged my main force up the middle. I was able to take part of my force to counter his numbers on the left, and I eventually overran him and his horsemen were slain, all except for Faramir, who triumphantly ran away from the fight, staying true to his Return of the King experience where he retreated from Osgiliath. Unluckily for Collin, Boromir's force decided to arrive fashionably late to the match, and he was broken by my superior number count while being peppered with ballista and crossbow shots. This breaking led to the end of the game and our recap.
All right, well, Collin, thank you for the great game.
Oh, dude, thank you
That was a
very much.
ton of
Yeah,
fun.
absolutely.
I love your energy whenever we play together. It's a great time. So, what happened in this game that really set you back?
Boromir coming in, turn 3.
That's literally exactly what happened.
Yeah, Boromir really didn't want to come fight today. He felt like sleeping in.
Yeah, it took getting all 3 misses so that he automatically came in the next turn.
It was pretty rough.
That's insane.
Yep, absolutely. Bolt throwers not being set up in the right position definitely hurt me too. So
True.
Lots of newbie mistakes, but it's great.
You know, that might be the case, but honestly, I wouldn't blame your dice.
Yeah.
I think your dice had 5s and 6s incredibly consistently.
Or a lot of ones. A lot of ones in a row. Yeah, they were very extreme.
hit or miss.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Did you have an MVP?
Boromir did all right. He made it off the board. That's a big win.
He
He
was
was the
your
only
guy
one
who
that
got off
made
the
it.
board, yeah.
He used all his might pretty early, but he ended up putting it to good use.
Yeah, absolutely. I think I'm gonna give it to my shoot. No, do I give it to my shooting or do I give it to?
Your shooting did well.
Shooting did well. I knocked out quite a few guys with the crossbows. They did great.
Your berserker that wouldn't die was pretty
Oh,
good.
I had a berserker with 2 fury saves. That's pretty huge. I think I'm gonna give it actually to this contingent of dudes by the ballista who got rid of the cav.
Yeah, they
I think
did
that
good.
is what really made or broke the game for me.
Yeah, I felt really good about that cavalry charging up there to take out the ballista, and it just they got.
You
stopped.
did negate the ballista.
Yeah,
It just didn't end up working out.
but good game all around.
Great game, man. I'd love to play another one.
Yeah,
with you sometime.
absolutely, dude. Thank you so much.
GGs.
Yeah.
We had time for one quick little narrative scenario as Kyle busted out his Helm's Deep terrain one more time for a narrative game from the Warren Rohan supplement book titled The Causeway. You'll remember this from Two Towers, where Aragorn and Gimli took it upon themselves to hold the gate as Theoden and his men repaired it from the inside. This game was excitingly uneventful as Uruk-hai after Uruk-hai fell to Aragorn and Gimli while being unable to cause any wounds. After 10 turns, Kyle found himself victorious. The hero hammer strikes again! Thank you to Giga-Bites for hosting and the great players for coming out. See you next time.